Chapter 15 Working Capital Management. Learning Objectives. Explain what working capital is and why appropriate management of working capital is critical to the survival of a firm. Describes general strategies a firm should follow when managing its working capital accounts. Discuss how a firm should finance its working capital needs. Describes the types of short-term credit that firms typically use. Discuss why it's necessary to compute the cost of credit and show how the cost of short-term credit is determined. Discuss which assets generally are considered good security for collateralized short-term loans. Working capital terminology. Working capital management is the management of a short-term asset or investment and liability or financing sources. Net working capital is the current asset minus current liability. It's the amount of current asset financed by long-term liabilities and equity. Managing cash and marketable securities. Cash management. Goal of minimizing the amount of cash the firm must hold for use in conducting its normal business activities. Must consider the ability to pay suppliers, maintain its credit rating, and meet unexpected cash needs. Cash management techniques. Marketable securities. Securities that can be sold on short notice without loss of principal or original investment. Credit management. Credit policy. A set of decisions that includes a firm's credit standards, credit terms, methods used to collect credit accounts, and credit monitoring procedures. Inventory management. The total inventory cost is the total carrying cost plus the total ordering cost. The total carrying cost is the carrying cost per unit times average units in inventory. The total ordering cost is the cost per order times number of orders. Economic ordering quantity model is a formula for determining the order quantity that will minimize total inventory cost, the optimal amount of inventory to order. Key working capital management concepts. What is working capital, and why is working capital management critical to the survival of the firm? Working capital refers to the short-term assets of a firm. Poor working capital management generally results in financial distress. What general strategies should a firm follow when managing its working capital accounts? Collect funds that is owed as quickly as possible and delay payment that it owns as long as possible. How should the firm finance its working capital needs? Most firms follow a maturity matching approach that specifies firms should finance spontaneously self-liquidating assets with temporary debt and finance more permanent assets with more permanent debt. What types of short-term credits do firms use? Banks offer a variety of short-term loans. Suppliers often permit firms to purchase materials on credit or payables. Accruals, wages, and taxes are the biggest. How is the cost of a short-term credit determined? Why is it necessary to compute the cost of credit? The percentage cost of credit per period is equal to the dollar cost of the borrowing divided by the amount of fund that the borrower can use. Firms must know what they pay to use credit. Which assets are good security for collateralized short-term loans? What are some of the arrangements that exist with secured short-term loans? Accounts receivable and inventory make good collateral for short-term loans. Receivables can be either factored, or sold, or pledged, used as collateral for a loan. Inventory arrangement can be in the forms of blankets, layers, trust receipts, or warehouse receipts.